Derek likes stuffing, which I think is
that's what I wanted to talk about.
Wet bread is disgusting.
No, but
it's not wet bread.
It's not wet bread though. It's not though. You have to have it where it's perfect. I make homemade stuffing. It's pretty good.
My family has a
stuffing farm.
A dish for
stuffing farm.
We only bring it up
trees.
twice a year, and my wife won't make it. We're hosting Thanksgiving, so I'm not getting it this year. But it's called cracker salad.
Cracker salad.
And it's saltine crackers, celery, onions, hard-boiled egg mixed up, and then you throw gravy on it, so it gets real soggy.
What?
Wait. Say that
really
again.
What are you?
Wait.
Talking
Hold on.
about?
Hold on. I need to hear that. Saltine crackers.
Saltine crackers.
Okay.
Celery cut up. I think there's some onion in there.
Okay. Poultry seasoning?
If you want it, but it's not in the whole dish. If you put on what you want, but
what are you eating?
And then you said eggs.
Hard-boiled eggs. Yes.
Hard-boiled eggs.
I was gonna say.
And then you put gravy on it. It just gets all mushy and soggy, and it's awesome.
I'll mix like cranberry sauce and mashed potatoes, and I thought you guys were gonna think that was gross.
No, I love that. That's good.
I never
Cranberry
tried
sauce,
that, but that's at least more reasonable.
Cranberry sauce is the best part of Thanksgiving.
Okay, so the leftovers. What's our favorite thing to do with the leftovers? And there's only one right answer to this question. And if you say the wrong, I'm gonna turn your microphones off. You're not gonna get to talk for this episode
Or something.
I just make leftovers. I heat them up on a plate. I don't know what you're. Don't tell me to blend it in a smoothie or something, because that's just gonna make me tag.
I'm gonna bring some cracker salad in for Jake next time we have it. We're not having it a Thursday.
You take a burrito tortilla, okay?
Okay.
All right. You spread mashed potatoes on it. All right.
Okay.
You put a layer of stuffing on top.
Mm-hmm.
You put a big whole thing of cranberry sauce in the middle and a bunch of turkey. And you roll it up and you eat it and you dip it in gravy and you eat it.
It's a Thanksgiving burrito.
You can just use like rolls. Like,
you know what? Do you know what? It's not the same now. It's not the same. You fill it like a Chipotle burrito. I thought you would appreciate this.
Yeah,
and then
seriously.
you dip it in the gravy. You dip it in the gravy. Or you have the gravy and you just do a little bit. You know how you do with a burrito where you just do a little bit of salsa and you.
I have a Thanksgiving hot take. Gravy's overrated. Ooh, I don't like gravy.
I don't eat a lot of it either.
I drink it.
Nope.
I enjoy.
I take the gravy, but just
I put it in my veins.
Bailey spent a lot of money. She's making. My family's never done mac and cheese for Thanksgiving.
Is she meeting your family for the first time?
No, she's already met them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was getting excited about that.
No,
I feel like that's a generational thing too. Like that was not a big deal for me to introduce.
Yeah.
Mallory to
I'm
my
meeting.
parents.
I'm meeting a lot of her family for her Thanksgiving and her Christmas party next Saturday. So, she's actually coming up. It's gonna be somewhat of a special thing. Next Saturday will be a year and a day, I think. I could be wrong.
You think?
I know my dad's going to be listening to this.
There's
so
no thinking.
It's going to be
you must know.
almost a year to the date that my grandma passed away. And it's all right.
I thought you were talking about dating, so I was making jokes.
Her and my grandpa are both buried together up in upstate New York, and my dad and my family wants to go up. And she really liked coffee and like chocolate, so we're gonna like go visit her grave, leave flowers, then we're all gonna go to eat as a family. And her Christmas party is that night, and I didn't communicate. So next Saturday, I'm driving up to upstate New York with her. She's coming with me, and we're driving back for Christmas. It's gonna be a long day, but
yeah.
It should be fun, but
you should take a carafe of coffee and some chocolates, and at her grave.
What of coffee?
Carafe.
A pot.
A giraffe.
Carafe.
He doesn't know what carafe is. You know,
I actually had to learn that a year ago.
Someone didn't know what a marquee was when we were at the Pen. The intern I had this summer, who's going to Slippery Rock. And I said, will you go outside and take some video of the marquee? He's like, what's a marquee? And I said, excuse me? You don't know what a marquee is?
Is that like the entrance?
And I said, it's the sign. It's a very specific type of sign. Yeah, it's a marquee where you put the letters on. Old movie theaters, they all had marquees.
I've seen that used as like a term for like a star player, like a marquee player. Is that a thing?
Derek would know that.
Yeah, marquee is that's a synonym.
I think Derek's done with our conversation. Where's your Mountain Dew, man?
But anyways, Bailey's making mac and cheese for Thursday for both her family and mine, and we went shopping on Saturday night.
Is she like hand shredding cheese?
It has to be fresh cheese. So
Yeah.
she hand shreds it and then she cooks it and
Nice.
bakes it. So she spent like, I think she said like $80 on stuff for mac and cheese, which I might
What
as well.
what kind of cheeses is she using?
I'll have to ask her. But
Ask her if she's using Gouda, because that's a good one to do in
Gouda,
baked
not
mac and
just
cheese.
Gouda, 20-year-old Gouda. She spent
Oh,
$80
I'm sorry.
on this stuff. Jeez.
20-year-old Gouda. That better be
$30 a
imported
block.
cheeses. Did you guys go down the Strip District? There's a place down there, I guess, that has like feta, like really good feta cheese.
I like feta cheese. I
Love
haven't
it.
had in a while. You guys like blue cheese?
Derek, do you like cheese?
You don't like blue cheese, but you'll eat soggy.
If it
saltine.
were true,
Ooh,
if
yeah,
it were
right?
actually, if it were actually true that you are what you eat, then I would be a piece of cheese right now. That's how much I love cheese. I don't like
What kind of
Mountain
cheese
Dew.
though?
provolone, mozzarella, Munster. Love Munster.
Oh,
I cannot stand Swiss. Best part about Swiss cheese is it's got holes in it, which means that's less that you have to eat.
but
I
it's
don't
not
like-
that. It's
I
not
like
like
every
it's a potent
cheese.
cheese. It's not like, what is it about Swiss cheese you don't like?
I don't like the taste of it.
What?
Yep. Don't like the taste of Swiss cheese.
I've told this to my friends. I've told this to Bailey.
Longhorn. I love Longhorn cheese. Go ahead.
Longhorn cheese. Okay.
One of my life goals is I want to make a bunch of different types of mac and cheese, like Kraft and Velveeta and other mac and cheeses, and mix them together, like mac and cheese salad.
Not do like a taste thing.
No, just mix them all together and see how it tastes.
Just make a
It's just gonna
Frankenstein's monster
it's
of
gonna
mac and
taste
cheese.
Frankenstein mac and cheese.
put some green food coloring in it.
Have you ever had Longhorn cheese?
No.
I
I'm gonna
don't
bring
think
in
I've
a
ever
piece
heard
for
it.
you, and you're gonna eat it.
Do you guys
I'll
like?
eat
Do you guys
cheese.
like brie?
I'm not a big
Nah.
brie fan though.
Isn't that what like fancy?
She did me
grilled
wrong
cheese is
once.
made
I'm not
with?
gonna let her do it again. Welcome to Eye on Sports, where we delve into the biggest Butler County sports topics. I'm your host, Butler Eagle Sports writer Derek Pida. Joining me are fellow sports writer Brendan Howell and Eagle Sports editor Jake Murda Adams.
Today's episode is sponsored by Butler County Chamber of Commerce, Robert Stevens Custom Jewelers, R.W. McDonald & Sons Incorporated. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting Eye on Sports.
We were talking about Ryan Day. You know who Ryan Day is? Probably not, right?
Yeah, but I can't picture.
He's Ohio State's football coach. He dyes his beard.
It looks like it's spray painted on. I'm telling you.
Why does he do that? To make it look red?
To make him look younger.
Men can be vain too.
Okay, no, stop with that. Like that, can we stop, men? It is attractive when there's salt and pepper. Okay, just go ahead and just let it fly.
You notice the new eyebrows here by chance?
Your eyebrows? Oh, did you let Bailey do your eyebrows?
Yeah, it hurt.
Wow,
She
yeah,
said
that
it
does
did.
hurt.
She was calling me a baby. She's yanking my eyebrows and waxing them
Well.
and stuff. It hurt.
You're pretty much her boy toy.
Yeah, pretty much. You think you're her boyfriend?
I've told Mallory that the day I start balding, the whole thing's coming off. I will not.
Oh yeah,
gonna
just
bald?
shave it.
Are you going bald?
When I go bald, that's what will happen.
Why do
You
you
think
say
you'll go bald?
when?
Because most of my the males in my family have
You're
gone
giving me a
bald.
real Hey Arnold look today.
Why is that?
Arnold.
Hey, you guys.
No, Hey Arnold,
Yeah, why
the
is that?
cartoon.
Yeah, why is that?
Basketball
Because
head.
of your hair.
Football head.
Do you always spike your hair up like that?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it looks different today.
Football head.
It's like it looks like he really like. It looks like you like do every single strand.
Mallory cut the front a little bit longer this time than like the middle and back.
Okay, that
so-
might be why.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
might
not
be.
a bad thing. I mean, whatever. It's a cartoon, so
My wife
Yeah.
cuts my hair. I mean, it's just,
yeah.
I don't have a style. It's just get it short because when it gets like
You're not
into
allowed
my-
to have styled hair. You're married.
I don't
That's
like
it. It's done.
When it gets
Just
into
gonna
my
start
ears,
shaving your head.
Yeah, the back of my neck at night can't. Once it's like been three to 4 weeks, it's the worst. I just hate sleeping with anything remotely long.
I have to shower every morning I wake up. Like I shower
That's
at
a
night.
good thing.
I shower at night, but I wake up, my hair's like crazy. Like
We're gonna start adding
I
the
could
flossing
not
onto
live
the
with hair.
showering.
I do floss. Don't worry.
You're doing it now
Yeah,
every day.
not every day.
You
no.
need to do it
It
every.
hurts my
Just,
gums.
but that's
Well,
why you
that's-
need to be doing it every day. And if your mouthwash has fluoride in it, you should actually rinse after you brush your teeth, after you rinse your mouth out, because you want the fluoride to be in there. It's good for your teeth.
I just floss in the morning. I know you're supposed to, like I've heard you're supposed to do it at night because it's after a day of eating and everything.
Mm-hmm.
My routine is in the morning.
And
Dennis wants to give me a hard time.
Yeah.
I haven't had cavities since I was like 14.
Hey, Wow.
Yeah, right? Bravo to me.
I got tons of cavities. I was the Cookie Monster as a kid. My mom would hide the Easter candy, and she would find me like up on counters, like in backs of cabinets, finding it.
Like a cat?
She used to call me a bloodhound. She's like, when it comes to chocolate, you're a bloodhound. You find the chocolate. She'd find me eating out of it.
Yeah,
that's scary.
You remember they still have the advent calendars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you open up a door each day. Well,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, my sister's 2.5 years older than me. My mom would get us one, and there's two of us, so she'd say, "Okay, Derek, you're the odd numbered dates. Lonnie, you're the even numbered dates." So, I'm 5 or 6 years old. I want candy. Give me candy. So I would open up my door, but then later that night when nobody's looking, I would open up the next day, which would be my sister's door. I'd take the chocolate out, eat it, and close the door back up. Next morning, she'd be like, "Mom, there's no candy in my door. What happened?" Sorry, Lonnie.
That one must be a default defective.
Yeah. Take it back. You got the receipt for this?
childhood
Take it
trauma.
back. All the even numbers don't have chocolate in them.
I also used to bite the feet off of her Barbie dolls. They all had stubs.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I
What
used
did
to-
you do with them after you bit them off? Just spit them out?
Spit them out, yeah. I used to bite the feet off of her Barbie.
Why?
Not just Barbie.
Are you
Ken,
trying to tell
everybody.
us something about yourself that we shouldn't be talking
I
about?
guess this was back when I was like 6,
It was my
7 years
first
old.
thought. I wasn't gonna say it.
Oh, it was
7
literally.
years
I was
old.
like,
Rex Ryan.
I never thought we'd get Derek there, but we have.
I'm also sitting there thinking, just like, if she's got Barbie dolls and she's playing with that's touching the floor and who knows what other surfaces, and he's just
See, now you
eating
know.
that.
The more you know.
I used to eat paste. I didn't care.
I ate cat food once just to know what it was
We're
like
no
to be
longer
a cat.
long lost brothers, Derek.
I
I wasn't eating glue.
the bacon beef stick things that I would get my dog. I tried one of those once just because it's like it just smells so good. Like I know it's not going to taste great. I had a bite of it and I was like, been there, done that.
If you
now.
had to.
And it's like, yeah,
You know?
yeah, definitely. Like if I was starving, that's edible.
I
Yeah.
actually bought Rambo. It was like 2 summers ago. I bought him it was like cinnamon roll flavored treats.
Oh.
Smelled good, and I ate it, and it's edible. You can
Yeah.
eat them as a human.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend it as a daily
Leaves like
thing.
a little bit of
Yeah.
like a film on your mouth.
Yeah, something. All right, you guys ready?
Let's rock. So the high school basketball season begins Friday. Brendan, you and Jake have talked with our 22 boys and girls basketball coaches to get their thoughts on the upcoming season. We're going to start off with you, Brendan. You took care of the boys. What are the biggest storylines between teams and individual players as we get set to tip off?
So I wrote a feature involving the fact that the hardwood is going to look different on the boys' side this year in terms of star players. 8 of the 11 teams in our county are replacing their leading scorer, if not more. Talking with the coaches, it was interesting to see their thoughts and plans and approaches to compensating for the graduated production there. Butler is obviously the most glaring one, as they've had stars since I was there in high school with Ethan Morton, the Carney brothers, Devin Carney. Donovan is now in Ohio playing for prep school there. Braden Littlejohn is gone now, and this is the first season they're going into where you don't look and see someone on that roster that is clear number one star. So he thinks his team is going to be more well-rounded this year. Obviously, if you don't have a star, you got to share the ball a little bit more, and everybody kind of gets their chance. Then there's Montauk, who lost 7 of its top 9 players, and they got to figure a lot out after winning their first District 9 championship last year.
7 of them.
7 of 9. Mike Jewett.
Star Trek character.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a feel.
No one gets it. All right, moving on.
What are you pointing at?
Did you guys just see what flew past the window?
Nope.
Something. Just be aware. The birds get a little crazy out here. So I had birds pecking at my window one day. So one of them just.
They would crash into John's window, and that's right up there.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
little chickadees sit
sorry.
there and poke at ours.
Yeah.
Or poke at it.
But as I was saying, Carn City is losing a 1,000-point scorer in Tate Bailey, who I got to see a lot of over the past few years. So they're also going to look different, and different is a word that applies to a lot of these teams this year. North Catholic loses Max Hooray, who was
an awesome player,
who is their all-time leading scorer, and Jim Morocco seemed very to the point with, oh, well, we're North Catholic, and this is how we operate, and this is how we do it. Which they'll have their players. I think it'll be interesting getting out, especially early over these next few weeks and next few months, just seeing who steps up for these teams, because that's part of what's fun in high school sports and college sports is the classes kind of move along.
Jake, you took care of the girls. What are your thoughts on what our teams have this year?
So obviously with the huge caveat that I need to see these teams play, that we all need to see these teams play. From what I could kind of gather listening to the coaches over the last 2 weeks, it seems like Butler might have the best overall team out of our bunch right now. They've got Sydney Patterson back. She's an Edinburgh soccer commit, but she plays point guard. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists per game. That's pretty solid production from your quarterback on the court. Amelia McMichael's probably our best player in the area. 16 points a game last year, 8 rebounds. She can shoot the three. I think there was 37 of them last year. She's committed to Westchester. She's got some size. She's got the ability to score inside, outside, multiple levels. That's always valuable. Super energetic. Have a story coming out on her on Wednesday online. It'll be in Friday's paper as well. She wants to be a cosmetology nurse, I guess. At some point, she job shadowed and was there for a open heart surgery at a hospital sometime in the fall here. She has more guts than I do with that stuff. Outside of Butler, Carn City's team could be interesting. Chloe Fritch is back. She tore her ACL in January last year. Obviously had a pretty good season on the golf course this year. We covered District 9 championship, I believe she had. There's other players on that team that have some experience coming back from 2-time defending district champs that I think it's going to complement her return. She was probably their best scorer. I think it was like 13 points a game or something last year. But there's Shea Pistorius, there's Naomi Vaneski, there's Hannah Daly, a lot of guards on that team that either are seniors or got experience once Fritch went down last year that they hope to be able to all complement each other a little bit better. So they've got still a deep team that has a chance to three-peat there.
Is Brooklyn Taylor back for them, or did she graduate?
I believe she's back.
Okay.
Yeah. Steve Andrazi said that the one thing he wants to see improve this year is they got to score more. They allowed teams to score in the low 30s last year, but they were barely scoring in the mid 30s themselves. If they want to have the same success or more, they need to up that number into the 40s or 50s. He really wants to see that jump into or get closer to 50. Montauk's probably our team that, at least on paper right now, looks like the biggest question mark because they're losing Catherine Kelly to graduation, all-time leading scorer. They have a bunch of other starters that are gone this year from last year's team. She doesn't know. The coach doesn't know what to expect right now. She's just kind of saying we're going to wait and see, and whoever steps up, steps up. North Catholic's in a similar boat, too, with Elena Rocco graduating and now at Harvard. She's gotten some minutes there for that team. But they have a bunch of new players as well that need to step up. And she thinks, one thing that she told me is, she very much expects between some injuries that they need to overcome and the new positions, new places, or new faces and everything, that what they look like in early December is not going to be what they look like in January. She still expects them to be a playoff team and a contender as well. We do have a couple new coaches in this year that should be interesting to follow. Slippery Rock's Jeff Steele, he took over in September. Late start, similar to Mars's boys coach. So that'll be interesting to see how that transition works. But he's got some talent in CJ Sabo and Madison Romanovich that he should be able to work with. Hopefully that team is able to take some steps up. UAC, second year with the team being merged between Union and AC Valley High Schools. Kelly Kiefer takes over. She was the middle school coach in the last few years. Now she's in the second year with this merger. She thinks there's a little bit more stability now. The girls know each other a little bit better. It's not so much not that territorial is my word and not probably the best description of it, but it's not so much Union girls and AC Valley girls. It's now UAC girls.
It's one team.
She thinks it's going to be a little bit more cohesive this year. So she's stepping into a better situation than if she had taken over, let's say, last year, for example. So some interesting storylines to watch going into this season.
Our teams are tipping off at various dates this year. I actually had a story in the paper just a week or so ago about how it used to be tip-off day was when 90% of the teams began play. This year, we've got teams tipping off on Friday, There's a couple tipping off on Saturday. Most of our teams are tipping off the first week of December. But once the ball gets rolling, it's going to be interesting to see how some of these storylines play out. Absolutely.
One thing that was interesting with your story there is I wasn't expecting as many coaches to be kind of against the expanded season. When I was in Central PA, I remember a couple like almost wanting this. Now that the PIAA went back to the schedule that they used to have 20-something years ago, they wanted the extra time, because when you lose, depending on where Christmas and New Year's falls during the calendar, that's almost a week off, even though some teams will play that tournament schedule. Sometimes it could be near 2 weeks. And so the 10-week regular season is now 8.5. And then you mix in, let's say, 2 Christmas postponements or 2 snow postponements. And all of a sudden, the end of January, you've got 4 games in 6 days, 5 games in 8 days. Like it gets really, really crammed. And I know a lot of teams that I used to cover were interested in expanding the season. Here, it seems like most coaches wanted it to stay the same. Is that what you got the vibe of?
Pretty much, yeah. Although I will say this, back when the last season that the winter sports, the last year that the winter sports season started the day after Thanksgiving was 2003. And back then, the maximum number of games that a basketball team could play was 24. Now, of course, it's 22. So I think it's a little easier to get those games in just because you got 2 less to play. But, yeah, it kind of comes down to who you talk to. I know Shane McGraw at Knock, whatever the start day was, he wants to play because he wants to get as much work in for his teams before they start playing section games, which is basically like the second week of December, I think. But then you talk to a guy like Steve Andrasey at Karn City, and he's like, no, we knew right when the schedule came out and it said you can play on Black Friday. He said we knew we weren't playing. So I think a lot of it comes down to the coaches. But like I said, it is interesting to me that back in the first go-around where Black Friday was the starting date, which was over 20 years ago, it was almost universal. I mean, teams, whatever the start date was, like 90% of the teams, not just in our area, but like in the entire district, they would start playing that day. But then you give teams basically roughly, 20 years where you start the Friday, 2 Fridays after Thanksgiving. And then I think some coaches, some high schools, some programs got used to that. And now that you go back to say, okay, you can play Black Friday, they're like, no, we like starting 8 days after, or at least not the day after Thanksgiving, because a lot of coaches want to have a practice before the day before a game. And if you start playing on Black Friday, when's that practice going to come? Thanksgiving. You want to practice on Thanksgiving?
Not when I'm eating cracker salad. No.
Cracker salad. I'll bring some in for you.
The 2 things that kind of stood out with that is I got one of the coaches I talked to was talking a little bit about the season starting, and I think PIAA needs to change when they start practice from the 2 Fridays before to either earlier in the week or just the Monday that week. Give them basically 2.5 weeks to practice, because they're losing time with Thanksgiving. Like, what coach is going to force their kids to play or to practice on Thanksgiving Day? Day, night, doesn't matter. No one's going to do that, because so many kids are traveling, and those coaches don't want to go anywhere. They want to be at home with their families too. The other thing too is I expect this to be similar to when PIAA expanded to week 0 games with football. The first year, almost no one took advantage of it. Second year, a bunch of teams took advantage of it, but not everyone. Now, everyone. I don't know an area that doesn't have a week 0 game. That's why I don't call it week 0 anymore. It's week 1. Everyone starts that day. So I think next year we're going to see more teams playing Black Friday weekend. Maybe not Black Friday, but Saturday or something like that. Maybe the tip-off tournaments change a little bit in scope. But I think we will see more teams start to adopt an earlier time.
November 29th, November 30th, December 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Whenever your team's tipping off, we wish all of our teams good luck, and we'll certainly be covering some games and talking about basketball a lot over the next few months. Ion Sports Podcast is proudly participating in Movember's annual fundraising campaign, which encourages people to sign up at Movember.com, grow a mustache, move to commit to walking or running 60 miles, host a virtual event, or mow your own way.
Mow Your Own Way is a choose-your-own-adventure activity and allows people to pick how they want to support Movember. The new challenge could include riding your motorcycle across the country or doing 100 burpees, and allows supporters to participate and not be limited by what they want to do.
All this support will change the face of men's health, raising funds and awareness for mental health and suicide prevention, prostate cancer, and testicular cancer.
The Eye on Sports podcast team, along with Butler Eagle Sports writers, have a goal to raise $1,000 for the month of Movember. The charity raises funds to deliver innovative breakthrough research and support programs that enable men to live happier, healthier, and longer lives. Committed to disrupting the status quo, millions have joined the movement, helping to fund over 1,250 projects around the world.
In addition to tackling key health issues faced by men, Movember is working to encourage men to stay healthy in all areas of their life, with a focus on men staying socially connected and becoming more open to discussing their health and significant moments in their lives.
The charity's vision is to have everlasting impact on the face of men's health. To donate or learn more, please visit Movember.com. Movember is a registered 501c3 charity. To donate to our fundraising goal, click the link in our story or bio. Help us at Alter Eagles Eye on Sports reach our goal of $1,000 towards Movember for men's health.
On behalf of myself, Eagle Sports writer and host Derek Pito.
I am Eagle Sports writer Brendan Howe.
And I'm Eagle Sports editor Jake Murda Adams.
Thank you.
This is the first time we've had two guests on the interview portion of our Eye on Sports podcast. The young ladies joining us today are both juniors at Mars Area High School. We have Riley Wooldridge on the right and Cecilia, a.k.a. Cece, Christy on the left. A Whitfield title and a trip to the state championship match. That's what you guys contributed to this year, and it turned out to be the best season in Mars girls volleyball history. Thank you for making time for us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Cece, your team's bid for a state title came up short 2 Saturdays ago in a 3-1 loss to an incredibly strong Pope John Paul II team. You've had 10 days to kind of reflect on the season. What were the main factors in the team's success in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of put into words because the season was, obviously we had a very successful season and it was so much fun, but I feel like the 3 things that stick out to me the most would be, first off, how hard we worked in practice. We put a lot of time and effort into each and every single one of our practices, and I feel like you could see that paid off in the games. Also, we have a super competitive team, so we were always competing, whether that would be in practice, obviously during games. And finally, I mean, I know this one sticks out to me the most, but our chemistry. We had really great team chemistry. Like, you could tell that all of us, like, really enjoyed each other's company and, like, genuinely wanted to be around each other. And, like, I know some of my best friends were on this team, so I am just so incredibly grateful that I was able to have the season that I did with them. And that was just so much fun and definitely something that I will never forget.
So for Riley, last season in 2023, so the one before this past season, you made the Whitfield playoffs, but you guys lost more games than you won. What would you say your role was in that team? And did you guys feel like you finished where you're supposed to that season, or did you guys feel like you kind of underachieved?
Yeah, so last year, I mean, I would definitely say I played a bigger role this year. I didn't even play in every game last year. I didn't start, like, I think I played in maybe 3 or 4 games less than I did this year. I didn't even touch foot on the court in that first round of Whitfields when we played South Fayette. So I think I just tried my best to lead from the sidelines to the bench and cheer goes on in practice and still work my hardest. But as far as how we finished, I definitely think, I mean, we could have pushed 1 or 2 more games. I don't know if we could have won that Whitfield title just with how our season was going, but I definitely don't think it was a terrible season, and I am still really proud of how last year went.
And then just a couple months later, you guys are in, preseason and everything, and your coach says, "Hey, I think we're making it to the state championship." So, Cece, when you hear that from your coach, are your eyes rolling? Are you kind of looking at her cross-eyed? What's the reaction that you have for her when she says that?
I mean, if you would have told me that we would be in the state championship at the beginning of the season, I genuinely don't think I would have believed you. But I think that as the season started to progress, it became more believable. And I think that started with section. After we went undefeated in our section, I was kind of like, oh, okay, like, that was pretty good. And then once Whitfield started and, we got past when we got 2 semis, I was like, wow, okay, like, this is right here. And then all of a sudden we won the semis game. We were in the championship and I was like, wow, okay, like we're in the Whitfield Championship. Like for me, this is the first Whitfield Championship I've ever been to, in any of the sports I've played in high school. And so that was just such an incredible experience. And I think afterwards, I remember our coach saying something at practice after the Whitfield Championship, and she was just like, I mean, we only have like 3 or 4 more games and you're in the state championship. And I think that's when it kind of hit me that like we're that close to being in a state championship. And I think like for me, that's when the kind of thought of even making it into the championship really set in for me. So it was definitely something that progressed over time, but the realization definitely hit in.
So definitely didn't believe your coach when she first said it.
Not at the beginning of the season, no, but as we got better, yes.
Tammy Caraway has one heck of a crystal ball.
Yeah, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cece, you guys mentioned that the team's practices are very intense just because of the level of competitiveness that's on pretty much the entire team. It kind of permeates through the entire team. But was there a player or two who kind of tried to throw in a little bit of comic relief during practices? And if so, how was that received by Tammy and how was that received by the rest of the team?
Oh, there was many times. I mean, I feel like the 2 biggest people that stand out to me when talking about comedy during practice is definitely Lily Javor and Ellen Nicotra. I mean, they're just hilarious, and we just have so much fun with them. I mean, the little inside jokes that we would have during practice, I mean, to me are just unforgettable. And that's truly what the season is about, like having fun with your teammates and making those memories. And I feel like that definitely benefited us during practice and during games because we were able to have that like little bit of like weight taken off our shoulders and just kind of be like, hey, like you're okay. Like, remember, this is fun, have confidence in yourself and do this. So I think that was portrayed positively throughout the whole team. And yeah, we definitely had our fair share of inside jokes and we definitely had some fun while we did it too.
Yeah, and Riley, how would you describe the bond that the team had before the season? How did it progress as you guys started making your run in the postseason?
I mean, we're all very close. I mean, me and Cece being here, the past 3 years, and then most Ella, Lily, Haley, even McKenna, like all those other girls, we've known them for so long. Our bond is so special. It's just like we're all best friends on the court. And even the girls on the bench and even girls on JV too. Like we are so close with them. And I think I agree with what Cece said again. Like that just helps so much going into big games because it, calms the nerves and everybody can just have some fun, weight lift off the shoulders. I think it's really special.
How long have each of you played volleyball competitively? We'll start with Cece.
I started playing school volleyball in 7th grade, and then I began playing club at the end of my 8th grade year, and I've been playing ever since.
Okay, Riley?
I started playing in 8th grade and club in 8th grade too.
Okay. So when you guys look back, was it simply the thrill of competition that gave you both a passion for volleyball, or was there a specific person, maybe a teammate, a coach, that kind of helped instill the passion for the sport in both of you guys?
I mean, I know for me, volleyball is just so much fun, and there's just so much joy that comes out of playing. And I think, to give credit for, where that's due is to my teammates, truly. Whether that be in high school or in club, I've had the opportunity to play alongside of some of the best girls, and they have just been not only so amazing just in like their volleyball skills, but such amazing people and so fun to be around. So I give credit to my love of volleyball to my teammates for sure. They have made this experience just so enjoyable and so unforgettable.
Riley, what are your thoughts regarding that?
I agree, my friends. I actually, when I started playing in 8th grade, I just wanted to like join on the bandwagon because all my friends were starting to play. Like Cece, Eden, Lexi, all those girls in my grade started playing in 7th grade. And I'd actually been a competitive dancer like for the past 9 years before that. So I had a completely different group of friends and I was really close with Cece and Elena. So when they tried out for middle school, I was like, I mean, why not? It's middle school. It's a different season. And then when I joined, I mean, like, it is just so much fun. It is like a feeling you can't even describe, just starting to play volleyball and being with your best friends on the court. And I know me and Cece are like two of the most competitive people I can name. Like, it is just so much fun to do that with your friends.
Do you feel like competitive dancing helped you at all transitioning to volleyball? That's a switch.
I do. A lot of my coaches do tell me that I like move around like a dancer. I don't really know what that means, but it does help me, like, you know, jumping and moving. And I mean, obviously it's not the most competitive sport. I mean, a lot of people say that dance like isn't a sport, but I think it did help me a lot.
You two are both going to be back next year. The good chunk of that roster is going to be back next year as well. What are your thoughts on the team moving forward? You ready to play with a target on your back? You ready to play going to defend your WPIAL title? You ready to play a year older and a year more experienced and with more postseason experience?
I mean, I think that our experience, just given what has happened this year, will definitely benefit us in the future. And I know that a lot of the girls play club volleyball. So even in the off season for high school, we do continue to get better, even if we're not playing for our high school team. And I think it'll be super beneficial to have our setter Gabby back. So I'm super excited to work with her and just continue to connect on different balls and whatnot. So I just feel like going into next year, I feel like a lot of it is just based off of our confidence, but also making sure we're not being too cocky, because I think, you know, you can have a healthy balance of, you know, having confidence in yourself, but also not overestimating your component. So I think that that's important to keep in mind for next season in order for us to be successful again.
Yeah, same with you, Riley. What, ready to be the hunted this time?
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a target on us, just because that is like, we made history last season. But I agree with Cece, like, the job is not finished and there's still so much work to do. And I'm super excited, honestly.
So what's next on your volleyball schedule? Riley, we're going to start with you. What's next? I know you play club, you play outside of high school. So what's the next thing on your schedule when it comes to volleyball?
Yeah, so I play at Pitt Elite Volleyball Club. I'm on 17 Elite, and I'll be taking a little break from hitting outside. On club, I'm just a DS libero, so it'll be a fun change. It's my first time switching positions. But yeah, and I am looking to play in college, so, you know, going to tournaments and everything, looking ahead, a lot of scouting stuff. And
so when does that start? I mean, when does that kick in as far as the club scene?
well, I start practice in 2 weeks, I think. We've been doing a couple open gyms, but our first tournament is in January, I think.
Okay. Cece, how about you when it comes to club volleyball?
Yeah, so I play for Revolution Club Volleyball. I'm also on the 17s team. I'm a middle blocker. I didn't change positions or anything. But I'm really looking forward to that season. Club volleyball is my favorite time of the year. And I'll just continue to do stuff with recruitment and, you know, continue that fun process and, just kind of go through the club season.
So is now, right now, between the state championship game just a week and a half ago to when you guys start up in January, is this time of the year, is this the break you guys get, or you need another break during the season? I know you guys love volleyball, but you also play a ton of it.
I mean, I know for me personally, I also play basketball. So, we played the championship game on Saturday and I was at basketball on Monday. So, as far as a break from volleyball goes, I do get the couple weeks off or the month off in between when high school ends and club begins. But I'm always doing something. So I don't mind it though. I love being busy. I love sports. It's what I do. So I don't mind.
Riley, do you need a break at all? And is this it, kind of the time between, you know, right around Thanksgiving and Christmas? Is this the little break you get, or do you need more?
Yeah, I mean, volleyball's kind of year-round. This is the little break. It's like this week, maybe. Just because with club, you know, like you can do privates and like open gyms and all that other stuff. So, I mean, there isn't really a break. I mean, yeah, this is it. Like having holiday breaks. That's pretty much it.
So, Cece, how do you kind of transition from volleyball to basketball so quickly? You mentioned 2-day difference there. How do you kind of change your mindset to going to play basketball?
I mean, to be really honest with you, it's something that I've been doing for a really long time. I've been playing basketball probably since 4th or 5th grade. And I have constantly been going back and forth to, do I want to pursue basketball in college or do I want to pursue volleyball in college? So flipping between basketball and volleyball has been something that I've been doing for years now. Obviously, I have now made the switch that I want to play volleyball in college, which is super exciting, and I'm excited to pursue that. But I think that volleyball and basketball are two completely different sports, just in the way that they're coached, in the way that they're played. One's contact, one's non-contact. So I think that it kind of comes right back to, it's kind of like riding a bike. So I know, like, for me, as soon as I stepped foot back into the gym for basketball on Monday, I just kind of picked up right where I left off last season. And, my teammates and my coaches obviously understand my situation. So they're really supportive of that. And I think that just kind of the overall environment helps me get right back into the flow of things. So it's like nothing ever stopped.
What's the recruiting process been like for the both of you so far? Has it been fun? Has it been stressful? A little in between?
It's definitely a little in between. It can get stressful, especially I can say last year. That's kind of the big year when coaches can start contacting you and calling you and emailing and whatever. But overall, it is fun, like going to tournaments and having the chance to possibly talk to a coach that you're really interested in and having reach schools. Like, I mean, the possibilities are endless. Like, I just love the process, honestly, but it can get a little stressful.
I agree. I know the recruiting process for me started this past summer, so it's just kind of been a lot of calls with coaches, a few visits here and there. And I think that the recruiting process is really fun. Definitely agree with Riley. It can be stressful at times, but I'm just trying to enjoy it while I can, because I know that someday, I'm going to look back and be like, oh, I should have, enjoyed that more. I should have done this. But I think the recruiting process is so much fun because it kind of gives you the chance to see, like, okay, where can I go? Where can I play at the next level? And I know for me, it motivates me to want to get in the gym, want to get better, keep working hard, and just improve every day.
Where are some of the places that you guys either are interested in or have shown interest in you?
So, I mean, I went to a couple summer camps. I went to the College of Charleston and Elon. Other than that, it's kind of hard for me because I'm switching positions, so it's hard to tell a coach, like, hey, here's my film from me hitting, even though I'm going to switch to DS position. So this year will definitely be a bigger year for me and involving like visiting schools and coaches whenever. But other than that, it's been small D2, D3 schools.
And for me, my options are super open. I'm not really opposed to anything when it comes to colleges. So I know I've been looking at a lot kind of in the Maryland, Delaware area. So Loyola University of Maryland, University of Delaware. I went to Villanova's volleyball camp this past summer, and I love their campus. That's super pretty. But also schools down south like Elon and whatnot. Davidson. So I'm kind of all over the board right now, but it's fun. So I can't even complain.
Obviously, the run that you guys were able to make for the Whitfield title and the run of the state championship game, I mean, you guys talked about it a little bit earlier, that created such an even stronger bond with your teammates. But what kind of feedback did you get from the school in general? Maybe just classmates that aren't on the volleyball team, teachers, administrators. During your run, was there anything that stuck out in that respect?
Well, I mean, when we came to school that Friday before the state championship, I mean, they had music playing, there was banners, streamers all over the school. I mean, our PA came out on the announcement and like they made us stand up and made our homeroom like give us a standing ovation. It was definitely like a lot of congratulations, which is so appreciated.
And the one memory that just sticks out to me as far as like support from the community goes is the elementary kids they made us like, I mean, there had to be like there was like hundreds of signs that just were like, good luck at states, like go win, like stuff of that nature. But it was just so sweet. It was so wholesome coming from those little elementary kids, and it made me want to win even more so for them. But there was also like a lot of support, I feel like, on social media, a lot. And obviously, like, there was a lot of talk just in our classes. I would go in like, oh, hey, good luck this weekend, or, good luck tonight. So I feel like that was like, I don't know, it was kind of like rewarding in a sense. And, it made you feel special, made you feel appreciated. But it was a really fun process.
CC, Christy, and Riley Wooldridge, we appreciate your time and congratulations on helping a team go from one with incredible talent to great accomplishment. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye,
for
guys.
having us. Bye.
Derek's back to 500, 7-7. I told him that if he gets this today,
he's going to punch me in the face for $20 million.
I cut that out last. Did you see? Some of it I cut out because I was listening to it and I was like, there's a lot and it won't make sense unless I cut this out. And I was like, these guys.
Our blooper reel over Christmas break.
Outtakes.
Yeah.
Sell them. Sell the outtakes.
I'll just put them on my personal page. I'm like, you can't do anything about it. It's not associated with but it would be. So, all right. Make it good.
So I'm not sure if you tuned in on Sunday night, but Philadelphia Eagles Saquon Barkley became the 6th player in NFL history to have multiple rushing scores of at least 70 yards. Which Steelers running back is also on that list?
In one game?
One game.
Of at least 70 yards.
Yeah, I worded that wrong. Yeah, 2 touchdowns of at least 70 yards.
2 touchdown runs of at least 70 yards. Okay, I get a little bit of time to think about that.
Welcome to Beyond Butler, our weekly segment where we talk about something outside the bounds of Butler County, whether that be professionally or collegiately. This week, we are going to go with the latter of those 2 options, being that it is college football rivalry week, which to me is the best week in all of college football and maybe in all of sports with all of the emotion that is involved. So I wanted to ask you guys, what college football rivalry memories come to mind right away for you?
So we're talking college football rivalries here, and I'm going to end up focusing on Pitt, West Virginia, but I do want to mention one thing about Pitt, Penn State. I missed these games. I was alive for most of them, but I was in diapers, so I don't actually remember watching these. There was like a 5 or 6 year span in the late 70s, early 80s where the Pitt-Penn State game, which was held every year, it was an annual game, directly affected the national title picture from like 76 through 82. So that's actually 7 straight years. I regret that I miss those games because I think Pitt-Penn State was at one time a great rivalry, and the fact that you had both teams going up against each other every single year and it having national implications. 76, Pitt won the national championship. 82, Penn State won the national championship. And the years in between, they were battling to play in meaningful games, obviously at the end of the year, and a big bowl game, which could have led to national championships. I miss the fact that I didn't get to watch those games and take them in when they happened. Pitt, West Virginia, though, I did watch a lot of those games. First of all, who can talk Pitt, West Virginia football without talking 13-9 in 2007?
Pitt's still clinging on to it.
The last week of the regular season, West Virginia played Pitt. I believe the game was at down in West Virginia too. I believe it was at Morgantown, and the Mountaineers entered that game number 2 in the country. Pitt was having a bad year. I think they ended up with like 4 wins. Pitt goes down there, knocks them off 13-9, kept West Virginia out of the national title game. So if you ever see anybody walking around with like a blue and gold shirt on, it says 13-9, that's referencing the 2007 game. I watched that game. I took that night off of work to watch it. So one other Pitt, West Virginia game I want to bring up was 1997. That was Walt Harris. You know who Walt Harris is?
Yeah.
That was his first year as a head coach at Pitt. Pitt was coming off 4 straight years, the second Johnny Major tenure with the Panthers. He was actually their head coach when they won the national championship in '76. He came back regrettably for a second stint from 1993 to '96, and I think in those 4 years combined, they won like 10 games. They were bad. So Walt Harris takes over in 1997. They go down to Morgantown. It was Thanksgiving weekend because that's rivalry weekend. And the game goes into triple overtime. Pistol Pete Gonzalez hits Terry Murphy for the winning touchdown in triple overtime in Morgantown. Place was just stunned. I mean, there was they didn't think Pitt was going to beat West Virginia there. They did. And Pitt actually made a bowl game that year. Ended up losing to Southern Miss in the Liberty Bowl 41-7. But I digress. To go from a 4-year stretch where you were winning 2, 3, 2, to making a bowl, that was a huge step for Pitt's football program, 1997, and they would not have made a bowl had they not defeated West Virginia in the final game of the season, triple overtime against the Mountaineers. That game still holds a place in my memory, and I wish Pitt played West Virginia every year. I wish they played Penn State every year, but college football is what it is. Jake, take it away.
I've never been a big college football rivalry. I mean, I've watched Penn State, Ohio State games, sure, but never with like serious rooting interest. So if I'm gonna pick like a memory I have, it would be the one year I was helping cover Wisconsin football, and that was 2021. They went to Minnesota. It was the only road game I traveled to where I stayed in a hotel. It was that far away. Got to hang out with a friend from college that I hadn't seen in a long time. Wisconsin started the season poorly and basically went from contender for Big Ten West Division titles, so therefore can play in the Big Ten Championship, to this team might be firing Paul Christ by the time the season is over.
Former Pitt coach.
They did fire Paul Christ, but it was 2 years later. They had this freshman running back from like Northeast Wisconsin who had been a linebacker / safety in high school, that because of injuries to like their top 3 running backs was starting by week 4, I think it was. Let me see. I've got it here actually. Week 4, he was maybe not starting, but he was like their number 2 back, but he put up huge numbers. He goes to Illinois and runs for 131 yards on 18 carries and a touchdown. This starts a stretch of 7 straight games in which he runs for at least 100 yards. The week before against Nebraska, he ran for 228 and 3 touchdowns. That game was ridiculous. And then Minnesota holds him to 17 carries for 47 yards and wins the Paul Bunyan Axe. That running back was Braylon Allen, who was drafted by the Jets this year in like the 4th or 5th round. When I watched Braylon Allen run that freshman year, he was he wasn't even a true freshman. He was a pre-true freshman because he graduated a year early. He was 17 in college. When I saw him run, I decided to tank my entire Dynasty Fantasy League the next year just so I could draft him 2 years later because I thought he was going to be a star. He's still really good. I still think he might be the best Jets running back on a really crappy offense, but that stretch was incredible, and I saw going to that Minnesota game and watching him get held in check, and it torpedoed Wisconsin's chances of having a New Year's. By that point, I think they were largely out of the Big Ten West conversation, but they had won like 5 games in a row during this run. And the loss to Minnesota, they lost the Paul Bunyan Axe, which is kind of decent trophy in college sports, and it knocked them out of any chance of a New Year's Six bowl. So that was kind of interesting.
There are some, regarding rivalries, there are some really interesting rivalry hardware in the Big Ten. You got Paul Bunyan's axe, you got the little brown jug, you got all kind of stuff. It's Big Ten's the best rivalries in football. I'll give you that. So I'm serious. I mean, I'm not saying it's the best football. I'm saying for me, I take Big Ten over SEC.
You don't like Harvard, Yale? You don't like the game?
SEC might be better football than the Big Ten, but
they throw textbooks at each other.
If you have an SEC game on TV and a Big Ten game on TV, I'll tune into the Big Ten game every single time.
What about the Civil War between Oregon and Oregon State?
It's sad that they ripped that apart.
Yeah.
My favorite, or my memory that comes to mind first, is Penn State and Ohio State. Haha, psych. That's not a rivalry. Ohio State, Michigan in 2016, when JT Barrett barely got the first down, and it was a first down no matter what Jim Harbaugh had to say about it afterwards. Next play, Curtis Samuel goes around left, and I'll always have this burned into my memory with Chris Fowler and his voice breaking in the middle of this statement. He goes, "Oh, Ohio State wins." Happiest, probably top 3, if I had to choose top 3 sports memories, that's in there, along with Chris Kunitz's Game 7 goal in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Senators and Andrew McCutcheon's home run against the Cardinals.
Where's the Steelers at in this? You're supposed to be a Steelers.
Surprisingly, those are my 3 favorite sports memories. So, Antonio Brown's helmet catch against the Ravens. I'd put that.
That was pretty cool.
That was one of my favorite.
2010.
Yeah. So. But yeah, Ohio State, Penn State's not a rivalry, so I'm kind of offended that Jake said that.
I didn't say that I liked the rivalry. I said I watched those games.
All right, trivia time.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, remind me of the question.
Okay. So, Philadelphia, Saquon Barkley became the 6th player in NFL history to have multiple rushing scores of at least 70 yards in one game on Sunday night. Which Steelers running back has also done the same?
So, 2 touchdown runs of at least 70 yards. So we're talking right there, just 2 runs alone, at least 140 yards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this guy had to have a huge day that day. I mean, I'm sure he carried the ball a few more times than that.
If it helps you, he lost that day too.
I honestly don't know what this guy did that day. John Fuqua.
Oh my God!
Bam! Bam! Against the Cardinals. Against the Cardinals.
The Eagles.
He just psyched you out.
I got the team wrong.
He made you think.
I got the team wrong. Does that count?
It counts. I just asked.
You asked for the running back. Yep, that's a point. Commissioner says it's a point.
1970.
7-8.
Look at this list.
He rushed for 218 yards that day.
Okay, is that true?
That was a Steeler
That's
record.
correct.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
That's
Let's
insane.
see.
What?
That was 200 because for the longest time it was a Steelers single game record. That's why I know that 218 yards.
Yeah.
Willie Parker broke it.
Yeah, it was his best day ever.
Here are the 6 running backs to do so. Saquon MVP Barkley, Maurice Jones-Drew in 2009 against Tennessee, Frank Gore against Seattle in 2009, a couple weeks before MJD's, Barry Sanders in 97 against Tampa, John Fuqua against the Eagles in 1970, and Lenny Moore, Baltimore running back, 1956 against Green Bay.
My memory's starting to slip, though, because I could have swore that was against the Cardinals. But John Fuqua, by the way.
It was a bird.
Who was it
a
against?
Bird. It was against the Eagles.
Oh,
It was
wow.
against the Eagles. John Fuqua was the receiver that the pass was intended for in the Immaculate Reception play. And he got blasted by Jack Tatum. And we know the rest. So we each have a favorite team in the NFL. Obviously, for me and Brendan, it's the Steelers.
The Jacksonville Jaguars. What?
Jake, you are a committed fan of the Eagles, and I wanted to
Make it sound like it's a crime.
get every
Committed.
Well, there are a lot of crimes committed in Philadelphia.
Let's
so,
all give our
And
thoughts on
Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Butler.
but I mean,
Let's all give our thoughts on our team moving forward. What are we confident?
You.
What are we confident about? What concerns do we have? Brendan, talk Steelers.
Well, the fact that the team that we were pretty high on just lost to the Cleveland Browns, whether it was in the snow or not, is kind of a downer. Maybe that mood changes after this upcoming Sunday with them facing Joe Burrow and a better offense, and let's see if they can stop that. I don't think that the Steelers' record 8-3 now, right? I don't think that it is indicative of it's just a very up and down team. They can beat the Ravens, who look like the best team in football whenever they're not playing the Steelers, and then you go lose to Jameis Winston and the Browns. Like I just
The
don't
Ravens
understand.
lost to them this year.
Yeah,
This is true.
Yeah,
Maybe the Browns should be in the playoffs in the AFC North.
the Browns have 3 wins.
Who's their
I
other
think.
one against this year?
I have no
Bengals?
idea.
They beat the. No, I think they lost to the Bengals.
I think that the offense needs to figure things out. The defense, TJ Watt has kind of been a non-factor over
Go
the
back to
past.
Justin Fields.
I would like to see that, but we'll hang back on that. Russell Wilson made a few okay throws in the snow.
Okay throws.
I'm very pensive right now. I don't want to get too excited with the Steelers. It's hard for me not to get excited. So, I think that they can beat teams like the Chiefs and the better teams in the AFC, but they can also lose to teams that aren't that good. So that's what scares me.
That's kind of like every team. Look at Kansas City on Sunday. They almost lost to the Panthers.
Yeah.
We're talking Panthers.
My wife was rooting for that so hard.
This league is so week to week. I mean, yeah, you have a couple teams with great records like the Lions and the Chiefs, but, I mean, there's a reason people say any given Sunday. And I will say this about the Steelers offense.
Or Wednesday or Thursday.
Or whenever
Monday,
they decide to play.
Friday.
Tuesday, Friday morning, whatever. I'll say this about their offense. I do – when you have a guy like George Pickens on your team, you have to be able to take advantage of his abilities. I didn't think Russell Wilson would be able to do that back when Justin Fields was starting, but then they put Wilson in, and he's throwing great. That pass he completed for the second touchdown of the fourth quarter against the Browns the other night in the snow, it was a great catch by Austin to hang on to the ball because he hit the ground pretty hard with a defensive guy on his tail. It was also perfectly thrown. I love what Wilson brings to the game as far as the deep ball. He throws a great deep ball. I didn't think he still had it in him. I guess he does. I also like the dual threat that Fields brings when he takes the field. I think we're going to see Fields on the field. How about that? We're going to see Fields on the field for a few more snaps this week against Cincinnati. I'm talking maybe 6-7 snaps. I would welcome that because, as you said, when Fields I think a lot of people just assume, okay, he's going to run. You stick him in there, and everybody kind of goes up for the run. Maybe a safety comes up for the run, and that could leave a deep pass wide open. So I love what Wilson's added to the offense, but I would also welcome a few more snaps out of Justin Fields.
I do want to say before Jake, I went to cover that game last Thursday. I took a vacation day to go cover that game. And seeing NFL football in the snow, that was like a bucket list life thing for me. Like, that was football in its most magical form. I'm mad the Steelers didn't win because it would have been more of a positive memory, but that was so cool to see them shoveling the field between the breaks.
In the frozen tundra of Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
I want to point one thing out here. I think I would feel a lot better right now if somebody could look into their crystal ball and tell me that the Steelers win the rematch against Cleveland and the 2 games against Cincinnati, because their other 3 games are in a 10-day span at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, at home to Kansas City. If somebody could tell me right now that the Steelers lose all 3 of those games, I wouldn't be surprised. And that's in a 10-day span. They're playing those 3 teams.
If they're going to use Fields, though, like they did last week, just fire the coaching staff, because they put him in on like a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6, and they ran the most obvious quarterback draw. No RPO, that was the dude's a quarterback. The dude can throw, right. and all they did was just run this QB dive play that got snuffed out.
There was the one 4th down. He got tackled by half the Browns' offense. Yeah. And
that's why you take a shot deep with him. That's what I said.
Looking after the play at the replay, he ran to the right side, but the play was designed for him to cut back, and there was a hole that was completely wide open on the left side that he could have gotten like 20 yards.
But why are you running a run-only play with him as a gadget play? Like, at that point, just don't throw him in. That's just an embarrassment to waste a play like that.
Hold on a second. If the Steelers are in a tight game and Justin Fields comes in and runs the ball for 20 yards, you're saying that's bad for the Steelers?
Well, no. To throw him in as one play and just call a QB dive, like you can call an RPO there where you give him maximum options. That if the run is there, take it. If there's a pass play there, take it. It stretches the defense to have to play multiple levels. And they just made it like, I know with him you're going to call some design QB runs, yes, but in that one-off situation where you're making it a gadget play, I'd make the gadget play as complicated as possible. Make it difficult for the defense to figure out what you're going to do.
I'd like to see him throw some passes because we know he can throw. He doesn't throw the deep ball like Wilson, but he can throw the ball deep. I mean, it's not like he's 15, 20 yards max. I mean, he can throw the ball deep, and if teams think he's going to run, that's obviously going to open up things downfield for you.
Yeah.
Obviously. Eagles.
How's
the nest, Jake?
I am confident in anything involving Saquon Barkley. I am confident in the cornerbacks that are both rookies and playing like they've been in the league for 5 years. The defensive line just lost Brandon Graham, which made me cry. And we
You actually cried?
If I could have, I would have. That was depressing. There's no defensive line depth now. It is bad, especially at the edge. I still don't have faith in Nick Sirianni at all. He might get to another Super Bowl, and I'm still not sure if I want him fired or not.
I saw a tweet that says he looks like General Grievous yesterday.
What about him with Grievous?
That he looks like General Grievous.
Oh. All right, yeah, I can see that. That's not bad. He's so weird, and he makes some boneheaded calls. Why did they call a QB draw with 7 seconds left at the half on 4th down to give the opposing team the ball at the 47? What are we doing? Like, that's even more egregious than the Justin Fields stuff. What are we doing there? I wanted to fire Nick Sirianni in that moment. Again, for like the 20th time this season. But I do love Saquon Barkley. He is fantastic.
Saquon's having a great season. Incredible. You know, right now, I believe he's on pace to break Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record, although it would come in one extra game because they now play 17 games. But whose record did Eric Dickerson break? Single season. O.J. Simpson. And O.J. Simpson did his 2,003 yards in 14 games, and Eric Dickerson did his 2,105 in 16 games. So I love Eric Dickerson. I think he was one of the all-time great running backs. But if Saquon breaks Dickerson's record in 17 games, it's turnabout's fair play because Dickerson had 2 more games than Simpson.
The only thing that makes me nervous is I really wish that we would rest Barkley, but Kenny Gainwell and the rest of their running backs behind him are just not that good. So, like, I want him to be healthy for the playoffs, and he's got an injury history. But at the same time, it's really fun to watch him jump over people butt first and to run 70 yards for 2 touchdowns.
What were your thoughts on Saquon when he played for the Giants?
I remember watching highlights of him at Penn State and just being like, this dude's incredible. And going to the Giants, I was terrified because I thought he could really do some damage. And he did at times. I mean, he was really, really good. I didn't hate him because he also kind of didn't seem to be – he wasn't Eli Manning. He wasn't some of these other players on your rivals that you like kind of want to hate because they just do or say something that makes you irritated.
Myles Garrett.
For you guys, I like Myles Garrett, but he was when he signed with the Eagles, I thought it was kind of ridiculous we were going to pay that much money because that's against the Eagles' entire MO. They don't pay running backs at all. Look what they did with DeAndre Swift. They sent a 4th-round pick to pick him up for 1 year, ran him really good, and then said, "Here, go away."
Like a rental player.
Yeah, it was a rental player. It was a rental player. Yeah, and he did well. I thought Barkley could be really good when healthy with the Eagles. I just didn't think that the money was worth it considering what the running back market has been so far. It's been a great deal. He has been worth more than what he's getting paid.
He's having an incredible season.
He's due for another 2 years.
When's the last running back to win MVP? Do you know this? When's the last running back to win MVP?
Sean Alexander.
Nope. Adrian Peterson did. Yeah. 2012.
Over 10 years ago, yeah.
Trivia is not my thing.
Barkley is now, I think he's got the 3rd highest odds behind Jackson and Allen.
Where's Mahomes at? Tim Tarcha, he wants to know where Mahomes is at. Patty! Have a great Thanksgiving. Alter Eagles Ion Sports Podcast would like to thank our sponsors. Butler County Chamber of Commerce, R.W. McDonald & Sons Incorporated, Robert Stevens Jewelers. We encourage you to subscribe to the Butler Eagle YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast and at Butler Eagle News. Goodbye.